Slides. Okay, while that comes up. पोती पड़ी पड़ी जगमुआ पंडित भयान कोय ढाई अक्षर प्रेम के पढ़े सो पंडित होय. It translates to gaining skills, knowledge, expertise alone doesn't make one great. Love, empathy, a service mindset, along with knowledge, is what makes one truly a great person. Kabir Das's Doha, written centuries ago, seems to fit very well for today's track here, Tech for Good. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor for me to present the keynote here in this track here today. I had a two-line introduction about my professional side, but I'm a little bit excited about this track, and I want to let you know why. I have a small drop in the social space. Yeah, it's an ocean. And I am working with several organizations on different topics. I start with partnering with organizations like Catalyst, Mentor Together, Team Everest, where I mentor underprivileged graduates, undergraduates for career, and I coach them for life. I work with an organization called Prakalpa, where I'm a volunteer faculty for them. I do project management trainings for NGOs to help them become more efficient, structured, get better funds, etc. I worked with Navaprabhuti Trust, which is an organization working on with young adults who are on the autism spectrum. I worked with Resham Sutra, where I've helped them with consulting on their app development and how they can scale, make it secure, make it performant, etc., and a lot more. And in this whole spectrum of things that I have done in the social world, I have come across a lot of experiences from when we have an insight into a social challenge to the impact that we can create. It's a very long journey, and it could be tedious. It could be with a lot of pitfalls and obstacles. It could be lonely sometimes. And it's hard to go through this journey. So I'm here today. I'm not going to talk about a technology stack that you can use. I'm not here to talk about what is the right technology for which social challenge. I think the industry use cases that were presented were wonderful, yeah, they were really, I'm still in the awe of what they presented, and I'm sure there are many more sessions on this track lined up for the same. I'm here to basically share my experience because I have faced a lot of these pitfalls. And many times these pitfalls either slow us down or derail us from what we want to do and create that impact. And a lot of us get demotivated and never get back into the social space after that. So I want to help with a few tips or food for thought, I would say, that could help anybody who is on this journey accelerate or start this journey with a better, head start. Let's start with a short question. How many of us look around our daily life and say, oh my God, now let's say we are in a bus stop or at a signal and there is somebody begging, there are homeless children, there is garbage piled up, there are potholes. With a show of hands, can you tell me how many of you think about it? Okay, keep your hands up. I will ask further questions, and if your answer is no, you can put your hands down. How many of us look at it and say, why is nobody doing anything about it? How many of us look at it and say, what can I do about it? How many of us actually went back and did something about it? How many of us then took it till the impact? Yeah, I think you would have guessed by now. The curve drops like this from the start to the last question. It's not only true for social challenges, yeah, it's true also for any kind of initiative. Weight loss, that's a program that many of us start off. How many of us start off by saying, I want to lose a few kgs? How many of us really achieve it? The curve is the same, but the difference probably is the number of people who start out on initiatives like a weight loss, for example, are quite a lot. So when we end with the impact, Even though people have dropped off on the way, there's still a significant number of people left out making an impact. But on the social space, this is not very true. The number of people who start out are very few, so the people who can end with it are much lower. And so I hope that after the session here today, many of you will get, if you are not already on this journey, will get onto this journey and make those numbers much higher. Social challenges are a global reality. I think we are having the older slides. This is the older slides. Okay, no problem. Yeah, so it's a global reality. It's not only in India that we have this problem. We always think that, oh my God, in India there's a lot of, all these social challenges. But it's a global challenge. Otherwise, United Nations will not have 17 different categories with the Sustainability Development Goals asking nations to work together on these goals. What does this mean? We can say, oh my God, what a world we are living in. Or we could treat this as a look at the opportunity space that we have. Today, in India especially, we are in a digital era. And we are in a really beautiful space of digitization because technology is at its peak and we can literally create miracles out of it. India is another country where we have a lot of people who have knowledge on the technology. In this country, we have openness with wide hands to accept new technology. People are ready to try out. When we say we have technology solutions for the social space, there are people open to try it out. It's not true in all countries. UPI payments are like easy for us. We do it every day in and day out. It's not true in many of the European countries. They still deal with a lot of cash. So technology openness is very high. Even the access to technology. Today we have a lot of access to technology in India. If you go even to a remote rural village, we have people with smartphones who log on to video calls with doctors who are in the urban cities and have medical treatment done over call. These things are happening. Does this mean we are all good? No. There is a lot of room for improvement, but we are on that journey. So what does this mean? Putting all this together, the kind of impact that we can create is never like before. But when we start doing this as technologists, there are some things that we need to take care of. Social challenges are emotional. So whenever you think of a social challenge, it comes from some deep emotion. It could be anger, frustration, kindness, empathy, whatever. You can think about it. Yeah, any social challenge that you see, it's got some kind of emotion attached to it. It's good because emotion kindles fire. And if we can keep that fire long enough, we can then create action out of it. But the only problem with an emotional, fire is that we generally jump to solutioning. Especially as technologists, and we have knowledge of technology, we believe that the first solution that we come up with is the best solution. And this may not be always true. We need to find ways to learn a little bit more about the topic. There's this book, Bridges Out of Poverty, which very nicely talks about how we have assumptions of what poverty is. And we start trying to solve right away. And many times when we start solving right away, we don't see an impact. And then we are wondering what went wrong? Because we have not dug deep enough. So first, very important, we need to involve the beneficiaries. Whomever we are working for, are we creating a technology solution for a social organization? Involve them. They definitely know much better than what we know. We know technology. They know the problem. It's better not to have assumptions. Let's ask enough number of questions. All the questions should be asked right at the beginning so that we can create a good solution. We need to also start off, once we have a solution, we don't go big bang. Even in our corporate world, we always start with smaller, we scale afterwards, right? So pilots, small data sets are very important to start trying out with, and then we can scale. But a lot of solutions try to go big bang, they're unable to address the scale, because when we address the scale, especially in the social sector, it's not only the technology piece. There's a lot of convincing, there's a lot of policy, There are a lot of other things that go hand in hand, which we need to take care of. Yeah? So when we do all this, we find the real problem. Once we find the real problem, we can create the real impact. So that's the first step, yeah? Finding the real problem before we jump to solutioning. Albert Einstein has once said, if I had 1 hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes then to solve it. We all believe Albert Einstein was intelligent enough, so I would not debate on if that was a good statement or not. So that's about finding the real problem. Unfortunately, I have the wrong slides here, but I will anyway click through and go on. Yeah. Collaboration is the key. Okay, before I get into this, we're talking about a social landscape. The social landscape is very, very different from a corporate landscape. How many of you are here from corporate companies? Most of us, yeah. So we have the social sector running very, very thin on many aspects. Okay, human resources. I worked with Resham Sutra, where they are in the founder of the company has invented 14 different solar-powered weaving machines, invented by him and patented. It's in India, and they help rural women in northeastern states do weaving with this. The company runs with 3 people. The founder owner who invents these machines, there's an administrator who monitors and all the manufacturing of all these machines, logistics and everything top to bottom, and there's one person on the field who speaks broken English. This is all they run with. And so they have to manage a lot and handle a lot, and human resources are really a crunch in the social sector. Infrastructure. They don't have everything that we have in the corporate world. When we walk into an NGO, they tell us sometimes, oh, we have 10 computers, 10 systems. But when you look at it, the configuration is very, very low, very old, unupdated. So we cannot run the latest and greatest softwares on them. We go with the USB saying, there's an Excel, yeah, you can access this Excel. But they are not using Microsoft Office because it is paid. It has a license. Unfortunately, many of us take it for granted. And then we are wondering, oh my God, you don't have Excel? And that brings me to costs. They run very thin on costs because they have funding. And when the funds come in, they cannot invest all the funds to their IT. They have a field, they have employees to pay, they have a lot of different areas to take care. So IT investments will be quite low. And we may feel really dejected about it. As a technologist, when we go there with a wonderful solution, they say, oh, it's too expensive, we cannot take this. And we are wondering, this is going to help you. We are pitching to them like we would pitch to a corporate customer. It does not help. They run on a very, very different, agenda. For them, the cause that they're trying to solve is more important, and more investment should go there than on their IT. They run very low on skills. Yeah, so when I talked to Resham Sutra and I told them, hey, you're only 3 people, they had enough money, they had enough funding, so they had an app that was developed to help them through the entire weaving process and then going to the market. But this app was developed by a third-party company, and the developers had developed it, but there was no security in the app, there was no pricing model in the app, there was so many things missing. And then our solution to that was, I think you need a product manager. And they laughed and they said, of course we need a product manager, but we cannot hire one. Do you know why? Any guesses? Why? Why can't they hire a product manager? Yeah, somebody got it. They're too expensive. Skill is extremely expensive because they are competing with the corporate market. The corporate is ready to pay a product manager much, much higher than what they can pay. So unless I am passionate and willing to do something, it's impossible for me to get hired in a social sector. So they run very thin on skills. Yeah, so we cannot dump them with a very, very complicated, sophisticated technological solution which they don't understand. And last but not the least, time. Because they run low on resources, human resources, and everything else, they don't have time. We cannot tell them, we give you something and then you take two months to train your people to use this. It doesn't work. They will put it on the shelf. Yeah. very, very important. When we are in the IT sector, especially, sometimes we have the luxury, especially in big companies, we have an IT team that manages all our systems. We have a team that takes care of licenses, legalities. So we just use the software and build software. We have teams that take care of what kind of portfolio we should build. We have teams that take care of sales, marketing, teams for everything. And many times, as software building people, as engineers, we can concentrate and focus on our skills and do the best there. Unfortunately, this is not true in the social sector. Everybody does everything. And so we have to be very cognizant of this fact when we come up with a technology-related solution for them. You know, technology is a double-edged sword. We can say that, AI today, super cool. It's great. We can do a lot of things with AI. Cloud, developing apps has never been easier. We even have low-code, no-code apps. We can just drag and drop and create wonderful UIs. Open source technology is available very easily for a lot of us. But let's just think about it. LLMs, so expensive. It hits the cost factor. Let's say I have enough funding, yeah, and I can use AI. But if I'm a social organization working in the sustainability space, my carbon footprint will just shoot up. And I won't get funding. So then, it's not a technology solution, it's a strategic solution. So my technology needs to fit into my strategy. We worked with an organization in Mysore, which was, looking at women in the gestation phase. And that is, they track women who are pregnant in the tribal areas and track their entire pregnancy till their childbirth, because there was a lot of death that was happening. So they wanted to, enhance their deliveries and everything. And this organization was maintaining book records, physical book records of every woman's name, family, her husband, what's her health status, what was the age that she became pregnant, is it a high critical, how many vaccinations, how many doctor visits, and this they track for 12 months. So once the number of women became more than 1,000, it was all over the place. So they called us in, we put in a structure for them. So the first thing we did was not a technology solution. We put in first a project management system for them. We put in, not on the computer, yeah, not on the technology side, but more in terms of process. We helped them with putting up a structure and a process. And then we moved to technology. And then when we came to technology, they said, no, we cannot do all this. This is too complicated. Our people come from the rural areas, from villages. As much they can do is to work with an Excel sheet. They can enter data into an Excel sheet, but now the data is so much. So our developer was definitely very disappointed because he had big ideas of what he wanted to do for them. But finally, he was very creative. We just used Google Forms and created an app-like interface, which made it very easy without any training for them to enter data. Finally, this data would go into Google Sheets. Simple Excel, because they wanted to use Excel. They could filter out for a lot of different data, critical people, critical women, and then now what we're doing is training them on how they can generate some charts out of it, create analytics out of it, so that the supervisor can look at it and see what is the final status. Today, what is the status? And all this happens in real time. As soon as the data is keyed in, they can see all this. And they were amazed that they can look at it in real time, because this was never possible before. But this is a very, very simple solution. Normally, we would not do this. We would say it's very not so sophisticated, it's not good. But this is what we could do, and this is what they could use. And they're very happy with it. Whether they will scale in the future to a different technology, we don't know. But today, this is the best solution for them. But how do we come to these conclusions? Collaboration is the key. Technical expertise is only one piece of the puzzle. We have many other pieces that we have to look at. Strategy, business process, project, operations, budgeting, policy making. We need to understand what policies, because when we look at social solutions, they are in many layers. Technology can solve problems at a certain layer, but may not be at all the layers. So we need to peel it like an onion and find out what are the other pieces that need to fit together so that this technical solution can finally then come to life. So this is very, very important, and for this we need diverse skill sets. We cannot just jump in with a technology piece and a technical knowledge. So this is very important, and with this kind of diverse skill set, I also have examples of apps. Enable Inclusion by Amar Seva Sangam is a beautifully developed app today. It is available publicly on the Google Play Store. Anybody can download it, and they have now established such a good IT infrastructure around it that they can operate it for any other NGO that wants to use it. What do? They go to the villages, check newly born children, very young children for early, early signs of disability, mental and physical disability. The idea is if you catch it early, you might even be able to solve it or at least minimize the impact of the disability. They have rehabilitation centers. They work on all the latest technologies. The app is available offline, online. The field representatives take it to the field, key in data, sync it up with the server. They have rehabilitation data, status can be seen. All their investors, all their fund, who give them funds, all of them look into the data here. It's a beautiful app. Yeah, and that is also the level of technology that one can go into. President of India today has looked into it, and she's very happy about it, and she has asked them to go pan-India because they are operating only in the Tamil Nadu region today. Let me be very honest. Yeah, I'm very clear. I'm not here to endorse this NGO or that NGO. I'm only talking out of my experience. But what I'm trying to say is there is a lot out there. So not always a big technical solution is required, but sometimes we can do that also. It is not that it's impossible. So having said that, what we need is the change makers and the action takers. In a room like this where we have people with different technology expertise and different levels of career levels, we are the best people who can make this change. When I ask people, when do you want to start contributing in the social sector? When I have more money, yeah? When I have more time, maybe when I have more skills. Believe me, it will never be the right time. The best time was yesterday, the next best time is today. And if you ask me, but I don't know where to go and what to do, even for that we have platforms. Sitting at home, looking into our systems, Moving Worlds is one of the platforms where you can just key in data about your profile and your skills, and they will match you to a social organization that needs your skill. And you can do different kinds of, you can do consulting, you can do projects with them, you can, whatever you want to do. So the avenues are just so many out there. It's all one intent away. Yeah, that's all we need to do. So, let me summarize. When we move into the social sector, let's not jump to solutioning, let's find the real problem. We should build solutions that the social organization can take over and sustain by themselves. They should not be dependent on us. It should be easily takeable by them, maintainable by them, yeah? And we should be able to do what we call knowledge transfer very easily. It should not take a lot of effort for them to train their people and start off using. They will never use it, believe me, if that's the case. And with this knowledge, I hope a lot of you will get onto this train, onto the social journey. Believe me, the kind of feeling that you get when you make that impact, the satisfaction is unmatched. So with that, I call upon you to be greedy for social change. Maya Angelou said, the legacy that you leave behind is not what you do, it's the lives that you touch. Even if we can make positive impact to one life, we have created a legacy. Don't we all want to leave a legacy behind? I believe yes. So what are we waiting for? Let's start our journey on the social change. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience.